At the end of the
Well,
day,
yeah, I
for
mean, like 100 people screaming, "Stop the show! Stop the
a
show!"
hundred
Somebody's
people
dying.
scream,
It just feels
yeah,
hard
it
to
can be
believe to
hard to
me.
believe for you, but again, I've been in that situation with much less people.
By the way,
That's a
did
big
I say
thing.
you're working at the cellar now?
Yeah, uh-huh.
When did that happen? Because I know I always think of you as like a New York comedy club guy.
I'm so not. I'm past everywhere.
That's awesome,
And
man. Well, that's just where I
thank
would
you.
see you.
No, I know, but see, that's what I'm saying is that like there's a difference between the two things, right?
Yeah.
Like you would see me there, but I was everywhere. So perception, perception of
All
words, stuff like that, I take it real serious. You know what I mean?
right, fair enough. Fair
Because
enough.
I would hear a couple people say that, and I'm like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
That's like when you live in a city for a while,
Mhm.
and people are like, "Oh yeah, he's from Chicago." It's like, dude, I'm not from fucking Chicago. Fuck you.
I remember somebody asked me if I was from Philly, and I got offended. I'm like, what
Oh
do you
well, nobody
mean?
wants to be from Philly.
No, no, Philly's a great place. I
I don't
just
know
be like,
about that.
I'm so New York. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? I'm
right.
so New York, and coming up in the city the way I did, being in it for so long. Whenever someone's confused about stuff like that, I'm like, you're annoying.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I was saying before you were adjusting your stuff, I actually like sat through listening to the whole album, man. And
Dope, man. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. I figured I'm having you on. Like, I listened to like the first little bit of it, and then like I went through the whole thing, and it was good, man. You know what I like? I think the mark of a good album, because there were definitely like points you would make in there that I felt myself like disagreeing with and all this stuff. But then I sit back and I'm like, well, at least I'm like thinking of this shit and I'm having like an emotional reaction and I'm feeling a type of way and I'm like, okay, that's probably the mark of somebody doing something pretty cool. So that's definitely one thing I thought about it. But
My
what
man,
what
thank you.
what were some things I wanted to ask you about? Because
Mhm.
you made it seem like you lost about what you said you lost like six figures from the pandemic. You kind of alluded to that. What were you talking about?
Hey, I'm a comedian, man. So like
Yeah.
whenever you cut off performing, you know what I mean? That hurts. So had some stuff set up, blah 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 blah. Pandemic happened, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
dark out the joint that you're talking about. And thank you for watching that. Real talk.
yeah,
It's
we'll link it to the chat so they can click on it and all that stuff.
heck yeah, heck yeah. It's a special that I put out last year because after everything that happened, I had a lot of perspective on what was going on outside, and I really wanted to talk about it. But performing in front of audiences was illegal, so you know, I
I like it too because it's Nico alone in like yeah, I mean you look like you're in like a straight up like the same studio that like a Mortal Technique goes to. Like it has like a real kind of like battle rap sort of
Lil
aesthetic to
Wayne,
it. Lil
Lil
Wayne?
Wayne, yeah,
Yeah.
man. So what inspired Dark Out was I was sitting in the house and I was watching a documentary on Lil Wayne. Right, he's one of my favorite rappers, if not my favorite, and I'm watching the documentary, and Wayne doesn't write anything. He'll go and he'll go into the studio. He'll spit his bars. They're on the fly. Listen to it. Spit like maybe 16. Take a break. Come back. Listen to it. Go in and edit. You know. So I watched him do that. I was like, man, why can't I do that with jokes, right? So I reached out to Mike Lavin, the homeless pimp, and I asked him, what he thought of the idea. He dug it. He said he'd like to try it. So reached out to Scott Linder and Emilio. They own the New York Comedy Club. They also have a
Yep.
music studio in Long Island. And asked them if I could do it there. They were down. We went in there on my comedy anniversary in 2020, September 14th. And we went in, we recorded. And you know what's funny is for the life of me, I could not get a set list down, right? That day, I could not get a set list down. So when we showed up, I was worried I wouldn't have any organization, but we did two. There's two other takes outside of what you saw, right? And they're two completely different takes from what ended up being the special, because the first two takes were me with a regular standard microphone, like with like a wire and everything, just walking around and doing like material to no audience. And we set up the like the Frank Sinatra kind of microphone.
Yeah.
We set that up.
Those
We
sound
set
like
that up
shit though.
last.
Those are there's a reason nobody uses those. They don't sound that good.
Nah, you out your mind. Those might sound
You like those?
amazing,
I
bro.
don't know, man.
The audio in Dark Hour is probably some of the clearest audio you'll find on anything. That microphone came off
Oh,
really,
that
really
that that
good.
microphone. Okay, I thought you were talking about like those old boxy square ones. You see
No,
like,
no, no.
yeah, like that's what I think of when I think of a Frank Sinatra mic is like, something they'd have in like the musical Grease, it's got like a bunch of
Oh,
slits in it. Those sound
got
like
you.
fucking
Nah,
shit, man. Those are terrible. Yours
I hear
sounded
you.
good though. That was like definitely good audio. It was in like what was it? It was in like 4K. I was like, damn, this is in 4K. Cause
Yeah.
dude, you saw some of these comedians were fucking embarrassing themselves with the quality of
Hey,
shit they were putting
hey,
out during
nope,
COVID.
nope, nope. I'm not going there with you.
Cell
Every
phone
comment,
audio. Cell phone
nah,
audio.
fam.
Come on, man. That's
You're,
you can't put out cell phone comedy
no,
quality.
you're wrong. You're wrong for a couple of reasons. Number one, what did you put out?
What it doesn't I mean, if you're putting out stuff on
Oh,
your cell phone, that's embarrassing.
wait. I'm asking you, what did you put out?
But it's irrelevant. It's completely
No, wait.
irrelevant.
No, it's not. What did you put out?
What did I put out? I learned how to build a broadcast.
My man, so right, you learned how to build a broadcast, right? So you put out your broadcast. Now, you got some people that might not specialize in audio, they might not specialize in anything. The only thing they do might be tell jokes, right? They put out the best they could. Let them have that. Last year
Yeah,
was a hard.
you should have the comment. Okay, all
Last
right,
year
all
was a
right.
hard year.
This guy
Let the
is
kids
too
have it.
wholesome. He's not trying to throw any shade at all. I feel you, man.
It's not about shade. It's about understanding what was really going on last year, what
Yeah,
people had access to. If
right.
a person didn't have access and they put out a product at a lesser value on one end, but they held up in other ends, watch the other ends. I don't got time to pick on people that probably didn't have much to do much.
Well, to me, it seems like people who rush to put things out and don't look for people who are better at things than they know
Let the
how to
kids
do.
play.
It
Let the
shows.
kids play.
I know, but to me, it shows like kind of a lack of respect for the
Let the
audience.
what audience? A lot of the people you're probably talking about probably don't have an audience. If they have an
Right.
audience, they're talking to the people that are their audience, so they're not even talking to you. You know what I mean? So
But
let
they
them
are
do stuff.
asking people to consume their content. And if you're going to ask
And
people to
if
consume
you,
your stuff, you should put out the best thing that you could do,
but this is what I'm saying to you is that more than likely is what they did. Unless you know the means of funds that they had and all that stuff, unless you know the extras behind their product, then you can't speak on it. So since you don't know that, I'm gonna go with the impression that they did the best that they could. Now, if you didn't enjoy that product of it, then that's on you. That's fine. But to say it's embarrassing, nah, they did the best they could. I hope the joke was funny.
Like, I do see where you're coming from, but I think we could both agree that most people have the common sense to know not to release a comedy album from cell phone audio. I mean,
And
that's a
some
special
people
type of person.
some people have no choice. I know a comic
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a comic that released a special that's actually so fire on the joke side of it. The
Hmm.
audio is great, the video quality and all that, but it's fire as hell. The jokes are great.
Right,
The the audio is great. And they put something out because they felt like they had to because nobody was paying attention to them. You know
right.
what I'm saying? It might be the type of video that you would see and go, meanwhile, that's one of the best comics in the country that just so happened hasn't gotten the chance yet to have something like that produced for them. And last year was a year where it was like, if I don't put something out to get people to gravitate towards me even a little bit, despite people, that might feel like like, oh, this is embarrassing. I got to put it out for the people that gravitate towards it. So
Well, I think that kind of
I
plays
don't.
into that comedian sickness too, where it's like every minute of the day I need to build my clout levels a little bit.
Well,
Even
who's
if
talking clout? I'm not talking about clout. Looking for your crowd and clout are two very different things. One is very true to the art form. The other is something that you seek when you don't have talent.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I agree with that, but I like that we're getting into this right now because this is kind of like getting into the bigger stuff that I wanted to talk about with like the Travis Scott stuff because
What
um,
about it?
well, this is like getting into a lot of what I feel about the responsibility of a performer and their relationship with the audience, and how they treat their audience and the work they put out, and the safety measures that go into the events that they throw. And I think this kind of plays into that attitude where it's like,
Well,
I'm gonna.
as far as the Travis Scott thing goes, my opinion on that is very simple.
You want to get into
I
that?
don't. No, it's not even nothing to get into. It's really quick, actually. It's gonna be so. It's really so boring that it's not gonna interest people. I
Okay.
think. I think the fact that nobody came to the side of the stage or anything to come up to the kid directly and go, hey, stop the show. This is what's going on. I think that's all really disappointing. I don't know what he could have done himself. You know what I'm saying? But that's it on that for me.
Well, what was it? I want to say maybe it was like Thursday last week or whatever. You made a Facebook post. I can't remember. Could you like kind of summarize what it is? I couldn't. Did you delete the post? I don't think I could find it.
Oh no, it's still up, but it's
Is
what
it
I just
okay?
said.
It's what? Oh, it's what
It's
you
what I
just
just
said.
said.
Where it's like
Yeah.
somebody should have came up to him. Like, what could
I
he have
don't I
known?
I don't see what he could have done more than what he did. I don't see why no one came to the side of the stage. I don't see why no one alerted his DJ. All these things that I know that can happen while you're on stage didn't happen. So no one came from the side. Nobody met from management, from the building, or from
Mm-hmm.
the came to the side of the stage. They have clearance to do that. Nobody from security came to the side of the stage to tell the kid, "Hey, fam, this is going on. We need to stop the show."
Right.
Nobody came to do that. Now, you were on the post and you were saying something along the lines of, "Oh, well, he can hear, he can see." And what I was saying to
Yeah. I
you
I
is
don't think
that,
he's Ray Charles. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on in front of him.
can I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
finish what.
For sure.
So all I was saying is that the things that you think somebody can see and hear from stage versus what they can see and hear and what they're looking at are very different things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As easily as you can say, "Oh, he saw that." I know that cannot be the case. I've been on raised stages in front of way less people. I'm talking about only 250, right? Oh, I had a dude have a seizure in the audience. I didn't even know. You understand? I'm talking about full ambulance. I didn't even know. So that's with 200 something people. I'm saying the fact that nobody came to the side of the stage to tell that man, hey, stop the show and all that stuff, I think that's very unfortunate.
Well, like to me, I totally get where you're coming from, and a lot of this kind of boils down to neither of us are Travis. Like we weren't there. Like we don't know what it felt like. We don't know what his experience was. So, I mean, like just in general, you got to kind of give him that. You have to give him. You got to give him some of the benefit of the doubt for sure. But like he himself was a producer of the event, and he should know. Like
So,
let's say there was a shooting. Let's say there was a shooting happening at the event. Okay,
mhm.
like does he not have some responsibility to maybe hire somebody to talk to him in his earpiece if there's like people
No,
getting shot in
no,
the background?
no, no.
Because he's the one
Obviously
holding the
not.
microphone.
Obviously not. That hasn't happened at any other concert where any performer has been on stage and a shooting has broke out. That hasn't happened at any other concert where a mosh pit has broken out and somebody got trampled to death. That hasn't happened when fights break out at concerts. That doesn't happen.
No, it does happen. Often performers will
So
use their
with
microphone powers in order to control the audience. That happens all the time.
no, 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 no. We're talking about two different things. What you're talking about is the performer seeing something and addressing it. That's not what I'm talking about. That's them going, that's actually them doing, that's them crowd controlling, but that's crowd control that they're doing, right? What I'm talking about is what you said of they should hire somebody to
Hmm.
come in here and tell them X, Y, and Z
Yes.
that
Do you,
which security should communicate to them and all of that into their ear. I personally don't know where that's ever happened at. Where it's
Oh,
like
okay. I
the
see what you're
monitor and
saying.
all that is right here.
Yeah.
That's what you said. So
Well, I was
because
just
I've
using that
never.
as like an
Oh no, but
example.
wait, no,
You know
no,
what
no,
I mean?
not as an example. That's what you said.
Right.
We'll
I'm
go with
saying
you.
like that's one of the things that he could have done. Like there's
But
countless things he could
because
have
but
done.
because that never happens, why would he have ever done it before this? Why would he have done it? It's never happened before,
So
bro.
the performer, like the person performing, has never had an open line of communication with security during
No,
events.
no, 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 sir, sir. Think about what you just said. What you
All
said
right.
is
Okay.
that in his ear, he
Mm-hmm.
could have paid extra for somebody to do that. I'm
Yes.
saying that has never happened before. I don't know any concert or anything where that, what you described, has happened. So, because I don't know of that to have ever happened, why would Travis Scott, before this situation, have ever done that when it's not happened before?
Well, I'm just saying he could have ensured different
But
safety measures. What do you mean? That's one example of a safety measure he could have done.
okay, that's one. But to that very specific example that I'm talking
Yeah.
about, staying specific to that, to what you said, I've never seen anybody take that. Now, to be done with that, to go to the broadness of what you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about,
Sure.
could he have done more? He's a rapper. He's not security.
Right.
So
But
wait, couldn't the people that are actual security that are really in charge of that, couldn't they do more because they're the actual security? The producer that he is on that show isn't the same kind of producer that the person that's head of security is.
right.
They're in charge of two very different things.
Okay. Well, let's use like a hypothetical here. Let's
No,
say
let's see what happened because
no,
see
no.
when we
Hold,
start
hold up,
looking
hold up.
at
So let's say Travis set it up where he had an open line of communication with the head of security, where if something goes down, the guy could like tap him on the shoulder, be like, "Hey, could you say this message?" Do you think if
well the
Travis
thing.
told people to back up, if Travis set that up, told people to back up, do you think that could have saved lives, or do you think they would have ignored him?
Um, Here's the thing. Well, you're asking me a question that I can't answer. I think you would have to look at a bunch of things. It's very gray. But when you think about the fact that security and ambulances were asking people to move and they weren't.
Yeah, they're not going to listen to those people. They're going to listen to Travis because they're
Hold
mega
on, hold on, wait, wait,
fans.
wait, wait, wait. I'm sorry, wait. So, so in a situation where you have people that are next to each other. Now, see, the audio that they're hearing next to each other is much different from the audio that he's hearing from stage. Now, what I just said to you was that there were people that weren't respecting the badged officials that take care of people, EMS, ambulances, the security that was on scene. They weren't respecting them, some people in some of these videos that you saw and from the testimony that you see from some of these people that were
Mm-hmm.
talking that worked security that night.
Sure.
So they weren't acknowledging them when the situation was right in front of them, not to the side, not from the vantage point from as far away as Travis, from right in front of them.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm
So,
saying is like
oh
if
no, wait, wait, wait.
okay,
I'm not done,
all
bro.
right, finish. Yep.
So, so after that, right? If they weren't listening to the actual people, I don't see a reason. What at the end of the day, dog, you asking me a question that I can't answer.
Well,
All I
what I'm
know
thinking
is
in
from
my
what.
head when I think about this, I think that if Travis, was told some of this was happening, and he sees people disrespecting EMTs in the audience, I think that
How
gets on
would
the
he?
microphone, if Travis
Oh
gets on the
my God!
microphone and says,
All
"Hey,
these
could you show them
hypotheticals,
some respect, let
all
them
these
through?" I think they would listen
hypotheticals,
to him.
all these hypotheticals that you coming up with are moot points. There's already videos on
But it's
TikTok of
hypothetical
the
through
man.
example of
Hold
other
on, bro. Let
events.
me finish. Let me finish.
Okay, all
There's
right, all right.
already videos on TikTok that you can see where Travis saw a kid that he thought was passed out, and he said, "Hey, let's get them some help." Where the dude said that, all that stuff happened. It's depending on which vantage point your algorithm is on when you log into Facebook, Twitter, whatever
True.
social media you using that day. So at the end of it all, it's an unfortunate situation. Period. I don't wish that on nobody. Period. I'm a performer. Do you understand how hurt somebody would be knowing that happened to their fans? Period.
That's the
Period.
other thing. Yeah. Like
Period.
dude,
Hold on,
Nico.
wait. No. Let me finish it.
Yeah. Okay.
So when it comes down to that, the whole he could have done more. That I'm not sure what the artist could have done from stage that the security couldn't do. But at the end of the day, the man didn't know. Nobody had the mind to come up to the back of the stage when you have the badges to do so and say, hey man, this is what's going on. They're on the floor level. They can actually hear.
Well,
From the
you
stage, probably can't. Most likely you can't.
but you do know what he could have done is he could have made an announcement. If he made an
Again,
announcement,
if you come up to me and I know there's an announcement to be made, I make an announcement. It's like when I do a show, right? If I'm emceeing a show, if I'm hosting a show,
yeah.
and MC, ladies and gentlemen, that's listening is a master of ceremonies, right? If I'm master of ceremony, right, an MC, which is what people like Travis Scott are also referred
Yeah,
to as,
sure.
if you come up, if somebody from the venue comes up to me and says, hey, we have a special guest, they usually come up and they bring you a slip of paper or something like that, and
Mhm.
they alert you to what's going on, and then you adjust. That part never happened. So the
He
other
never had
part
that.
did never happen. So we're talking about the wrong person. You talking about a Lego that was made of you. The Lego piece that could have made that happen never went to the back of the stage. You talking to the wrong person.
There's
That piece,
pe- pe-
that
pe-
piece, hold on, wait. That piece is who you need to speak to. If the dude doesn't know what's going on, then there's what can he do besides what was done? And
r-
it's terrible. That piece is who y'all need to be talking to and about.
and
That's all.
my whole
That
point with all
situation is
this
horrible.
is
There's no
that
point to be made.
my
There's no
point is that Travis is one of the Lego pieces. And
what
if you look at the
point.
broader
Again, bro, what broader? We're talking about what happened.
yeah,
As far as the people that got hurt and all that shit, all you folks that want to make points about what's right and what's wrong in this case, the whole shit is fucked up. People died
there's
trying to ascribe,
many
oh, he's
people to
one
be
of the Lego.
blamed. And
He's one
Travis is
of
not even
no, that's this bullshit fucking vulture mentality that you folks have. It's ingrained in the culture right now. It's
what is.
ingrained. You motherfuckers don't give the parents enough time to grieve, much less the people that actually went through it while they were there that day. No justice and none of that shit. Bunch of
There
fucking
are
cowards. Bunch of
clearly
deep guys,
multiple people to
gentlemen
be
people that
blamed, right?
actually
There
know about it.
I
Ridiculous.
I would say Travis Scott has maybe 10% responsibility in this. I would say
Well, then if he has
10%.
10% responsibility in this, then what we even talking to him for? He's responsible for his 10%, but he's not getting 10%. You want to give him 90% when you know he already taken 95%. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Look out of
what
here.
you think I think of this, but what I think is that the city fucked up the event. The producers of the event didn't
So
hire
then
good
why is
security.
it so then why is it that I had to spend the last however many minutes talking more about how Travis Scott did what was in his power to do
Because
because of
you're
what he
trying to
had
take
the
all
knowledge. Hold on, wait.
responsibility away from him. You're trying to take
What
all
hold on,
responsibility away from him, and
wait.
I'm saying he
I
has
didn't
some level of
hold on,
responsibility.
wait. I acknowledge the responsibility he has as a producer of the show. So whatever money and all that he has to give, that's gonna be that.
Okay,
I
do you not
acknowledge
have
that.
responsibility as a performer to be aware of what's going on around you? Do you not have any
Again,
responsibility?
dog, if you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on. And as far as I could tell, the man didn't know what was going on because, as we were talking about the Lego piece, nobody came to the side of the stage, nobody came behind the man. Everything you talking about is hypothetical. Everything. Everything you talking about, oh, he could have saw, he could have, all that bullshit that you talking about is hypothetical. That's what you thought of. Remember, 100 people screaming versus 50,000 people screaming music, right? While the dude is performing and all of that shit, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, can you not recognize the difference between an "I'm happy" scream and "I'm about to die" scream?
Oh my God. Again, you don't know what you're talking about. If somebody is on a raised stage, right, and there is but multitudes of people. I just did a show at a college in Long Island when we were outside, right? There were less than 200 kids there. It was me and Saul Volcano. We were killing. We couldn't hear any of the laughter because we were outside. What are
Right.
you talking about? Meanwhile, the kids that were sitting next to each other reported back to us how well we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that
Can they not recognize the screens? There were 50,000 people there. That's a lot of noise. That's not even taking into account what the man has to hear from the beats that are behind him, whatever the weather is, because they're outside. What are you talking about?
okay, why are there hundreds of examples of other
Why are there
musicians
hundreds of
noticing
examples,
things
my
happening in the
brother?
crowd and doing something to use their voice in order to
So again,
help the situation move
if
forward?
the man didn't notice it, and then if it then wasn't brought to his attention, I don't know what you're looking for. So if he says, "Hey, I didn't see, I didn't whatever," because as far as we can tell, he must have didn't. You keep saying, "Oh, how couldn't he?" And I'm telling you how he couldn't.
It just
I'm
feels hard to
telling you.
believe. It just feels
Yeah,
hard
it
to
can be
believe to
hard to
me.
believe for you, but again, I've been in that situation with much less people. I'm telling you
You've
that's
never
the
been
case.
in a stampede. You've never been in a stampede.
Hey, my nigga, boom, right there. See what you just said? I've never been in Stampede, but I have been on stage, right? Where a motherfucker was taken out in an ambulance in a crowd of 300, and I didn't fucking know.
Yeah, a
That's a
seizure can be
seizure.
quiet.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
wait, my nigga. That's a whole seizure, a whole ambulance, and all came, right? I didn't know. I'm telling you again about a show I did with 200 people, even less than the people that were around when the guy had the seizure, even less than that. And we couldn't hear the laughter because we were outside. Meanwhile, when you hear the video from the fucking camera that was sitting right there next to the kids, it sounds like we're inside New York Comedy Club where you saw me because their vantage point per sound is closer. That was 50,000 people. You look back at that video of DMX performing at Woodstock, right? And it says DMX performing for the world. There's a lot of shit happening. Listen to that audio and listen to what he can hear. Be quiet. What are you talking about? If the boy didn't notice, there's nothing he can do. If nobody came up to him to alert him directly when that's easily done, that's easily done. It's as easy as somebody with a badge walking up to his DJ and saying something.
Well,
But you rather
it is
but you
interesting
rather
you
spend
brought
more
up.
time talking about the hypothetical of what more he could have done.
Well, I'm not just pulling these hypotheticals out of my ass. I mean, I'm
Get out
pulling
of
them
here,
from
bro.
past examples, man. What is it?
Again, nobody went. You're talking about shit that he could have noticed and all of that
Okay,
stuff, right? And you
again,
know
Nico, does he have no responsibility in setting up a good communication line with the security? He has no obligation to do that at all.
he's an artist. He's not security. His job of the show, if he knew about it, if he knew about all the things that you asking me about, and then he kept performing, now that's a different story. That's way different than what we're talking about.
But why does he have no responsibility in setting that communication up?
Hold on, wait, bro. Wait. Let's relax. And let's get back to the points of this shit, right?
Okay.
Number one, you keep talking about why doesn't he have responsibility? His responsibility is to have that communication, but if security don't ever communicate to him, how is he supposed to do anything? That's security's job. Security never came up to the side of the
And that
stage.
security was terrible,
Shit.
by the way. I've seen all
Hold
the
on, wait.
videos. It was really
Hold on,
shit
wait.
security.
Oh, so okay.
And
Oh
I've been
shit.
trying to make that
Oh
concession to you for a
shit.
while, but you kind
Well,
of
hold on, wait.
steamroll over me. I agree. The
I'm
security
not
was shit.
steamrolling over you. You keep flip flopping on how you say you feel about these points because you're you're aura about the shit. If you were a mood ring
No,
and
you're
Travis
confused.
Scott
I'm
was
not
the
all one
subject,
way on this.
you
I'm
would
not
go.
all one way
You
on this.
you're not all one way on it. Okay. So to the people listening, right? I don't know what you heard, but this is what I've gotten to hear, right? Oh, well, Travis Scott has responsibility. I say. Yes, as a producer, yes, he has responsibility. Once he's on stage, I don't know what more he could do. Oh, well, isn't it his job? That's security's job, bro. And no security did anything. Oh, security was shitty. And that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
So
whose
again,
responsibility is it
what
to
we
make
were talking about.
announcements? Whose responsibility is it?
That's security's job to tell the person that's supposed to make the announcement, and that's not the artist's job either. Nobody came on a god mic and said anything. Again, these are all very simple things that happen at shows usually when shit goes down. It's as simple as somebody with the fucking badge coming up to Travis and saying whatever.
I agree.
Travis can't run up to himself, bro.
I agree with that. I agree, and
So
I
then
just
what we
don't.
talking about?
What I'm
So
saying
then
is
what we talking about?
I don't think Travis insured enough safeguards to make sure something like this
How?
doesn't happen.
He's not security. He's an artist.
Right, where his
He's an
maybe like his team should have done
what
more.
team? His team is for him. Therefore, the artist. The venue had security. That's for venue security. Travis's job was to perform.
I mean, we're also ignoring the fact that he was a producer of the event. Like
No, we're
he helped
not.
produce the event.
Okay, so in his production of the event, he will financially be responsible. We already cleared that. We talked about that already.
Right.
I'm with you on that, and he's gonna be held responsible. That's all.
Oh, as in you're saying okay. But I'm saying
So again, what
you're
are we
separating
talking
it in
about?
your head. You're separating it in your head as like Travis Scott the artist versus Travis Scott the producer. But maybe I'm like combining those two things.
You peasants keep trying to put moral responsibility on a man that had no more moral responsibility on this topic. That's what the problem is. That's why you keep sounding so wishy-washy as you go through this shit. There's no more
I don't
moral
know.
responsibility for the man to hold. If they didn't come up and do what they could have done that's easy to do, he will face whatever consequences he's supposed to face. But as far as the backlash, I think you're all pointing the gun at the wrong person because the Lego piece, the missing piece that we're talking about, could have stopped a lot of that before any of that happened.
Right. It's that missing link. And why was that
So talk
not
about
set
that.
up? Why was that not
So
set
let's
up?
talk about that.
That's what I've
Let's
been
talk
trying to talk about. I'm
what
like,
you need to set up.
why
That's
is there no
security.
because that Lego
That's
piece
security.
that
That's security.
the key
That's
log,
security.
right, but
That's security. That's anybody that was there with a badge that worked anywhere in that building that could have ran on stage and said to anybody, "Hey, make this announcement." Period. That's
right.
already there.
And the
That's
key
already
log
there.
of all this is the fact that there was no communication between the artist and the security. That
No,
didn't exist.
That's all on security. The artist was on stage. That's all on security. The artist was on stage. The man can't walk up to himself.
When you
It's
have
all on security.
right, when you have a certain
It's
power,
all
you
on
have a
security.
right, but like
So when security has a certain power, they should alert Travis, and they should have. You're right. I agree.
yeah.
Security should have alerted
And
Travis. You
that's
were
why
right.
I'm saying
And that's why
I'll
we
lower it. I'll
saying
lower it. I'll say
no.
Travis has
That's why we
5% responsibility. How
No,
about
no,
that?
no, no, no. That's why we saying security has 100% responsibility, and they 100% messed up their job because they didn't go and tell Travis Scott anything.
Well, I would say
That's
the
why
promoters
security
take
has.
some responsibility too, because
That's why.
earlier in the day, people were breaking into the show. There were thousands of
That's
people
security.
breaking in.
That's security.
Right. So the people that hired the security, the people that
That's
produced the event,
security.
that
Even
they
the
all take
people that hired the
responsibility too.
security, even the people that hired the security, right? And I don't even know if that's Travis, but even the people that hired the security was supposed to secure. And the fact that the security was so insecure, the security should have done a better job. You're right. But you that weren't using the name security, you using the name Travis Scott. When security was the ones that was supposed to talk to Travis Scott and tell him to make an announcement. Security didn't do that.
I just
So
find
we need
it
to be
so
talking about
hard to
security.
believe that you believe that the artist shouldn't like ensure that they have a line of communication set up. That just feels so
I
ridiculous to
mean,
me.
what are you talking about? And don't put words in my mouth, sir. What I said exactly was the security should have alerted the man to what happened because they were there, right? Security
Right.
was there, right? It was present.
I mean, I'm going to be curious to
Oh,
see
no,
the
no, no,
the
no.
additional video footage that comes out if
Let's
security
let's
did
go.
try to reach out to him. I don't even know about any of this.
Okay, so you didn't even do enough due diligence to find a
No,
little
I've
bit of
done
that
the
out.
due diligence. There's only so much information that's out there right now.
So much information. I mean, it would be obvious if somebody walked up to the side of the stage and told Travis Scott. I mean, you want to
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about
I saw countless videos of
Hold
people
on, wait.
going up to security, begging
Can I
for their
finish?
life.
No. Again, see what you just said. Going up to who? Security, my nigga. That's who I'm talking about, right? But I said just now Nobody went up to who? Travis Scott. You said people went up to security. You're right. Security never went up to Travis Scott, which is what I've been saying the whole goddamn time. So you keep asking me, oh, what is the artist supposed to do about communication with security? The security was already set up. The security did not then communicate with the artist. The security did not communicate with the artist. You just said the kids were going up to security and the security did not what? Communicate with the artist. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about that one thing that wasn't set up, which is that line of
Security.
communication. You're
What
right.
line of communication? It was right there. It was right there. Walk up the stairs on the side of the stage that you had the security
Right.
clearance to get into.
And
What are
and
you
I would
talking
argue,
about? It's right there.
here's what I would argue, because
You would argue that
I'm giving a
Travis
lot
Scott
of the benefit of the doubt. I would
wasn't
argue that
telepathic.
during
It didn't go, hey, security, I can sense it in your minds that people are coming up to you screaming for death. I need y'all to come up here and tell me and make an
yeah.
announcement.
Oh, I see a body being crowd surfed out of the audience, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna
Now
do another
again, you see a
37
body getting
minutes
crowd surfed out in
from
out
what,
in
10 feet away from him.
10 feet away from him right now. As far as I know, if I don't know something is happening, I could think one of a couple things. I could think, oh, damn, I just saw somebody else faint. Maybe this person fainted and they send them that way. I've seen concerts with people like Michael Jackson. Now, mind you, I don't go to a lot of concerts, so y'all gonna have to forgive me. I've seen concerts with folks like Michael Jackson, right? Where people are passed out and they're being crowd served out. That's something that happens. It's probably something that's happened before. I don't think the man knew that the person was, if they were dead, that they were dead, or if they were passed out, they were passed out. I don't know what he thought. It's
Yeah,
not on
we're
me to
not
think
him.
about what he thought. It's not on me to do. It's not on me to put that weight on that person. It's not on me.
Hmm.
But, period. Security could have just walked up the stairs. It was that easy. What are we talking about? You want to ascribe a more blame to the artist? I don't got time for that. When it was as easy as somebody walking up 4 fucking stairs and telling them what was wrong. Now, if you find out what somebody did that, holler at me. But until then, it's unfortunate what happened, and people should be praying for those families. However the parents feel, they feel. All this extra shit with you goofies trying to ascribe more blame to an artist when we're sitting here both only talking about security, 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 and how everybody was only talking to security that was present. It wasn't missing, it was present. It didn't do the job of walking up the steps. The
Yeah.
artist can't control that. The fuck out of here.
Again, I give him about 5% responsibility just because of criminal neglect of not paying attention to what's going on around you. I mean,
So
if you
then
really,
again, so if he has
you know
5%,
how
then
many
why
people
is
got
he
injured, right?
95% of
So
the
you don't think
topic?
you know? So it's not
Why
like,
is he 95%? I've never been in front
okay,
of
it's not like one
50,000
person
people.
had a seizure in the back of
Have
the
you ever
place.
been?
It's like
Have you ever
400
been?
people were in the middle of a
Have you,
stampede.
bro, you don't understand what you're talking about. In arenas that size and audiences that big, the ratio that I'm mentioning is the ratio that you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Where was the person sitting? The person that had the seizure?
In the middle to the side, all the way to the right. I didn't notice because I was playing to the fucking left where the light was better because I'm dark skinned. Help you better?
The majority of people that got injured for the Travis Scott show were directly in front of him. That's where the
Nigga,
stampede
what did
happened.
I just say to you? I just told you that the thing that I'm talking about, the man had the fucking seizure in the middle on the right, and we didn't notice. Outside of the people that were in that section, we didn't notice.
All right, man. Hey, listen, if you want to just
And
completely
I don't
say
got
that
time.
there's no way that Travis
Don't
could
put
see
words in
anything
my
going
mouth,
on,
bro. Shh. Don't put words in my mouth. I said what I said, and only that. Don't put any other words in my mouth. I don't need you to quote me.
okay.
I speak very well
See,
for
the
me.
thing is,
What I
because
said.
not
Hold on, wait, wait,
okay,
wait.
all right.
What I said was security didn't come up and do any due diligence, right? I don't know what the man saw, and I don't got time to speculate on that. You can imagine whatever you like. You can give whatever deference to what you think is believable and all that, blah, blah, blah. That has nothing to do with the fact that security was present, security had the clearance, and security could have easily walked up those stairs and told that man, hey, we need to cancel.
I'll be the first to admit, like, a lot of this is basically speculation, right? Like, neither of us are Travis Scott. Again, like, so there's no way
But
we
one
could
of us
really
is a
know how
performer
he
that has
actually
been
felt.
that has been in front of an audience of at least 1,000 before. They can tell you that it's as impossible to hear and see everything that's happening, and that's 50 times less than that audience. And I'm not trying to get any flack for any Travis Scott. What I'm saying is people like my homie right here, they want to ascribe more blame. The man just had, we've been talking for how long? We started at what, 3:03? We've been talking for at least 30 minutes about Travis Scott's responsibility. Meanwhile, you say he only has 5% responsibility, then why is he 99% of this conversation?
Well, because yeah, I mean,
And with
we've been
such
talking a lot
vitriol.
about the security. In fact, we've been talking for probably like 20 minutes about the relationship between the security and the artist.
Security was there. It just didn't talk to the artist.
Yeah. And I'm saying
How's
that
that the
that
artist's fault?
5%, the 5% that I'm drawing up comes from him not setting up a line of communication and him not being aware of what's going
But
on
he
around
set up
him.
the line of communication. The line of communication that he set up was that security is there and the security can walk up and talk to him. Security didn't do anything with their line of communication.
Okay, if somebody is walking across the street, let's say they have the walk sign and they don't check both ways and get hit by a car, they still have maybe 10% responsibility for not looking both ways, even though they were allowed to
But that's
walk.
already 5 more% than you think Travis Scott has. So that's not relevant to what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the fact that the man was already on stage. He was already on stage and he was performing. Security knew what was going on, and security did not then go and speak to the man for him to then be able to do anything useful in a period of time where it would have been useful. And then not only did they not talk to him, they let him continue going. Now, everything that you're speculating on is speculative. Everything that I just said is fact.
So I think this is good. So what do you
It's
think
not
should
good.
no
I
no
don't think it's good at all. I think it's some sad. I think it's savagely and sad.
no
I don't
I
like the
agree.
energy
And
of this
what I'm
type of
trying to
shit.
ask is like, what do you think should happen with the security? Like, do you think any of the security guards should go to jail? Head of security?
I think that whatever needs to happen is going to happen, and I think that the parents should get whatever justice they feel is necessary. Period. That's not what I'm talking about. My problem is the energy of this whole conversation and the energy of even wanting to blame people like that more when you acknowledge they have little to no control in what happened.
Well, what
That's what
really gets
pisses
me
me off.
upset over somebody like Travis Scott is the complete lack of empathy over the situation.
What?
I
Hold
mean,
on, wait. No, stop. You can't tell somebody how to grieve. You can't tell somebody how to be.
oh
Fuck
yeah, let
off.
me
What
let
do
me go
you? Hold
grieve
on,
at
wait. Let
Dave
me
and
stop.
Buster's and then spend $1
Let me
million
go
at a
grieve at
strip
Dave and
club.
Buster's, bitch. Maybe that's how I grieve. The fuck are you talking about? I spend emotionally all the time, nigga. You can even look at certain statistics and tell people emotionally spend. Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about?
I
It's
mean,
not
that
up to
seems
you. It's
crazy,
not
man.
up to you. It's not up to you to delegate how people be. People get to be.
But you could
People
look at
get to
people's
be. That
actions and make
no, stop,
inferences over
stop,
their
stop,
character.
stop, stop. You thinking too much for shit that has nothing to do with you. When at the end of the day, you don't know that man. For all you know, he could have cried when he went home. You don't know nothing about what happened that night. You ascribing shit to somebody that you don't know. And then you wanted to ascribe more blame, but then sit here and put your hands up and go, oh, nah, he only had 5%. And what the fuck are we even talking about? We need to be talking about the 95% instead of the fucking distraction. Chump, that's some chump shit.
It's not chump shit,
Some
man.
chump shit.
I could look at
It's
somebody's
chump
actions
shit.
and make inferences
No,
over their character.
you can barely what character? 10 years ago, you probably thought Bill Cosby was a saint. What are you talking about? Be quiet. You don't know nothing about these people.
Well, I don't know
You don't know
anything about
nothing
these
about these
people. I've
people.
seen their bullshit apology videos and I've seen all that shit, and that to me looked like somebody who
And
didn't
again,
care. It seemed
and
like somebody
again,
who was just doing something for PR instead of giving a fuck about their
how much?
audience.
Hold on, wait. But how much? How did you want his voice to sound? It wasn't demure enough for you, bitch. What are you talking about? You don't get to delegate how somebody sounds. You
Nico,
don't.
how did you
You
feel
don't.
when you found out somebody had a seizure in your? How did you feel the next
I
day?
felt fucking horrible that he had a seizure and felt great that he was okay.
Yeah, yeah, because
And
you're
then
an
the next day,
empathetic
hold on,
person.
wait,
You're
no,
an
no, no, no,
empathetic
because
person.
no. Let's not be crazy now. Because the next day, I went on about my day. I had a great day. I didn't think about it much, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm not saying that's what happened to that guy. He couldn't get over that the next day. What are you talking about? Somebody died. So
Yeah, 10 people died. Yeah.
again, 10 people died, bro. But you wouldn't walk up to a teacher after the day after a school shooting and be like, "Oh, did you go to the bar and you had 10 drinks? Did you take a selfie and blah blah blah?" People get to do what they do and grieve how they grieve. You don't know these people. Stop applying pressure to people that actually had to be victims with the other victims that night. He wasn't as much a victim, but he has to go on knowing that that happened to his fans. You fucking monster.
I'm a monster. I mean, it just doesn't
I'm not
seem like
talking
he
about.
cared
I'm
about
not
them at
talking
all.
about. I'm not. Who are you to say? You don't know the kid. You don't know the man. It's not for you to say. It's
I
not for
mean,
you to say. There's
he
people who have
he has
lost.
put
Hold
certain
on, wait,
things
bro.
out there, and
Wait,
I'm able
bro.
to judge what
There's
he puts
people.
out there.
You aren't. Who the fuck are you to judge? And that's the problem.
I'm
Your
an
only
observer. I'm a
job,
viewer. Of course, I can
and
judge.
and as an observer, your only job is to look. Outside of
That's
that,
not true
leave
either.
people
I can
alone.
criticize.
And that's the problem. Because if it was you that we were talking about, and people were
I would
displaying
never
you
be
in
in
a
that
way that,
situation.
and you're right.
Yeah, for a
You're right.
couple reasons, man. I mean, I
Which is
wouldn't be
what?
so neglectful.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's the part that I don't know if that's the part of the
Yeah, you're
situation that you
trying to
want to
take some
be in.
digs. Yeah, great, great,
No,
great.
I'm not taking a
I'm
dig. I'm not taking a dig at all. I'm saying to think that somebody you can be in a situation where you've done all you can do, right? Not even all you can do. You in a situation where you didn't know there was anything that you could have done.
mhm.
Now everybody is saying what you thought, how you thought it, and how you are. People that don't know you, people that never met you. I'm sure you've been in situations like
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure it hurts.
Probably ain't
It's not fun.
right. And it ain't your job to hurt people.
It's not my job, but again, if I look at
And you should
somebody
stop.
and their
You should
actions
stop hurting
appear to
people.
be shitty, if somebody
I bet.
appears to have shitty
You
actions,
ever
then I
got
could be
cheated
like,
on?
"Wow, look at those shitty
You ever
actions."
got cheated on?
I kind of, yeah, it hurts.
Kind of. Did you when she was cheating on you? Did you know it or did you find out?
What is it? She texted me.
Oh, okay. So when you found out, it hurt, right?
Yeah, for
But you
sure.
didn't. But you didn't know what was going on.
No.
Right. Right. Now it ain't your fault that she cheated, right? But you had to feel that hurt. And I'm sure there was people that were probably fucking with you for being hurt. Ah, look at that hurt little bitch. Or if you weren't asking her, oh man, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. It's not up to you to make people talk a certain way, be a certain way. You don't get to say how people feel or any of that shit.